Dear participants of the workshop, let me introduce a report on the topic Security Analysis Models for Multimedia Information Resources and Social Networks. The continuous development of global communication services has turned social networks into the dominant segment of information exchange and citizen communication in the virtual space. The availability of personal media for generating multimedia content and online communities for sharing it has led to an explosive growth in the volume of multimedia information that circulates in social networks. Simultaneously with the increase in the volume of multimedia content and social networks, the number and variety of negative impacts carried out on information resources of a multimedia type or with their help are increasing. Such actions are a source of threats to information security. The growth in the number of users of social networks and multimedia services is currently so active that it outstrips the increase in the world's population. It can be seen in this figure. Information security threats are of a different nature and can be implemented using special software or technologies that are inaccessible to the vast majority of users of social networks due to their lack of appropriate professional competence. Traditional list of main threats to information security in social networks is shown in this figure. To effectively reduce the degree of influence of those threats to information security in social network, it is necessary to adequately apply methods for analysis of social networks, which make it possible to identify potential centers of influence capable of forming a collective public opinion for destructive purposes. Currently, in the analysis of social networks, there are four main areas of research. They are shown in this slide. They are structural, resource, normative, and dynamic. Also, it is necessary to consider specific models for analyzing social networks. These models are shown in these tables, and we can talk about the power of weak ties as a small world phenomenon with a theory of 6 handshakes, graph models, analysis of centrality and other local properties, algorithm for calculating the level of confidence, strengths of the structural position of the participant, community detection methods and related subgroup analysis, data dimensionality reduction methods, structural equivalence of network participants, role algebras, analysis of dyads and triads, stochastic models, network dynamic models, algorithmic tools for analyzing the evolution of networks, analysis of networks development graphs, predicting bond formation, and also ontology-based models. Among those existing models for analyzing social networks, the most interesting are those that can actually be implemented on the basis of available statistical information, which are metrics of social network and its participants. One of these characteristics is the level of trust, which is the algorithm for calculating the level of trust. For a control sample, experts manually assess the trust level of a small number of pages that can be considered reliable. These pages are taken as a benchmark. Further, the algorithm is based on the statement that good pages rarely link to bad ones, but bad ones very often link to good ones. So trust rank is a value that gives an estimate of whether a particular page can be trusted. To strengthen the result of calculating the level of trust, it is advisable to use the indicator strength of the structural position of a participant, which determines the differences in the resources of social network participant, which is very important to estimate possible problems. However, to build an effective security system for multimedia content and social network, it is necessary to develop an algorithm based on the use of available information about participants, groups, and communities. This will allow development a mechanism for identifying threats and identifying the sources of their occurrence. To develop such a methodology, the concept of modeling the behavior of members of a social network is proposed, which is implemented at 3 levels. At the first level, as can be seen on this slide, an element of a social network, agent or actor, is determined, the behavior of which forms the behavior of the social network as a whole, and is decisive for the study and construction of a security system. At this level, we see the number of actions that should be done. At the second level, models of collective behavior, group dynamics are built. At this level also should be done several actions. And at the third level, threats are identified that are directed at the platform of the function of the social network as a whole. At this level, a classifier of threats specific to social network and their multimedia content is formed. The formed complex of tasks separated by levels makes it possible to form an economically grounded methodology for constructing a security system for multimedia information resources of social networks. The methodology construction process consists of 4 stages, which are shown in this slide. Here we can see inclusion of economic indicators in this model, which will expand the capabilities of detecting threats and sectors of influence, which are critical nodes in social networks. The use of standard models of analysis of social networks at the present stage does not allow identifying the sources of threats to security of multimedia information resources in social networks. This is primarily due to the fact that the main tool of influence is multimedia content, which, unlike text content, is not subject to indexing to increase search speed. Mass identification of multimedia content in modern conditions is possible only on the basis of the name of the file itself and the hashtags on the corresponding page. This problem critically affects the development of effective models for analyzing multimedia information resources in the social networks, and requires the development of a new methodology for identifying and countering information security threats. Thank you for your attention. The report is over.